jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports, man. You know what it is. Good morning to all. Good morning, for real. It's a Wednesday. Some call it hump day. I call it just a day closer to the weekend, shawty, for real. Big salute to the WCS supporters and those of you that tune into the channel. Truly appreciate you. One love. And big salute to the ones out there working and grinding, had to get up in the morning and go to work. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my comrades out there. People always tell me I don't give the veterans enough shout out. I do, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I do. But shout out to all of y'all that's out there grinding in the workforce and doing what you're supposed to do. You feel me? So this fight week, we're going to get into some, hot topics about the fight week and potentially what it all means to the sport of boxing. As you're looking at the thumbnail, you probably saying to yourself, like, what is this all about? Like, sometimes I could be immersed in being a word thespian, but give subliminal shots and all this other stuff that goes along with English language. But this thumbnail right here say, who cares about world titles? And it's just, it's just dawned on me, like, I had an epiphany last night. I say, damn, I broke the code to boxing. I had a conversation yesterday with some individuals, and, all this time I was thinking about it, but I was like, no, that can't be it. You know what I'm saying? That can't be it. It has to be something larger than life when it comes to boxing, because boxing's been in existence for quite some time, right? But I was like, damn, I finally got it. It took someone to truly explain to me why boxing is still here. You know what I'm saying? And then how is an individual fighter to be relevant in the sport? I finally found it. And the first person I called was Keanu Reeves. I said, Keanu, you played in one of the most epic science fiction movies ever. I say, but I have to tell you something. I think I cracked the code of the boxing matrix. Seriously, I think I did, man. I think I actually did. Because all this time I was putting too much effort into a boxer earning championships and credentials, building up credentials, earning championships, weight divisions, just building up their chest plate with badges. And then, I was told, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. All alone, I'm saying to myself, even though my eyes was crossed, right? And I was saying, damn, all this time I've been actually studying the sport of boxing and reporting on it with a passion. I had it all wrong. Really, I did. I had it all wrong. Shout out to everyone that's in the live chat. I appreciate you. I had this all wrong. The reason why I say I had it all wrong is because how the conversation is presented to the audience in the social media era, this day and time, it's not how I grew up in the sport. You know what I'm saying? When we didn't have social media, we just had landlines and everything else. So we just used to tune in to boxing. And the reason why we tuned in to some of these big fights were because of who was in the ring, first of all, and why they was in the ring. What was the purpose of these boxers being in the ring? What did they have to present? And all along, I thought, it was the a championship fight, or they was fighting for some type of belt, or they was the previous champion in another division, or they had an extensive amateur career. They was a well decorated Olympian. But that's not the case, y'all. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. I'm breaking the news right here today. It's not the case. For all of you who support who really deeply support boxing, you've been doing it wrong too. You've got it all backwards. Because boxing isn't about world titles. Boxing, when I bring up credentials and the visions of a fighter, it's not about world titles, because world titles bring credentials, don't they? Like when you go to a division, people look at you and they say, so and so's did this, and this in his career. That never mattered. That never mattered, y'all. Credentials don't matter no more. World titles don't matter no more. People are basically assessing how certain individuals got into the Hall of Fame. They look at the Chris Webbers of boxing, because the Chris Webbers of boxing, didn't have to win a championship. It gets confusing. You're probably saying to yourself, damn, this is a big confusion. I'm like, what is he talking about? And I said that to myself. Like, I thought I had the rule of thumb correctly where it need to be. And I believe that if you train in a sport and you strive and set goals and achieve certain aspects in boxing, such as working your way up the ladder to earn a championship fight, winning a championship, winning multiple championships, and if you have the opportunity to go up to another division and win another championship, that don't matter. It's way deeper than this. It's way deeper than this. It's all about how you was born in life, how God brought you into this world. That's what it's all about. It's not really anything else besides that. Boxing, it has this enigma to it, right? You thought everything you were seeing in front of you, the format for which we go about all the time when it comes to boxing, looking at the schedule, looking at the fight card, we go through this all the fucking time. We say, man, okay, it's like routine to us. It's daily routine. Okay, that fighter fighting that fighter. Okay, he want to get a win. Okay, he might win, might lose. Okay. And then you might see a championship fight. Okay, who is this guy? Let me check his boom, boom. Is he that good? Is he capable of defending his title? Da, da, da. Or if they fighting for a vacant title. Well, let me pick and choose who, based off their previous performance, their record, and everything else, where they're fighting, who might win this. You try to home in on all those analytics for the simple fact because you've been in this matrix, this simulation all this time, believing that you knew about boxing. And, me being in the conversation, I finally figured it out when they was telling me. They was telling me. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate to the ones who enlightened me to this, to the cracking the code on boxing. The reality of it is, what I mentioned earlier about being God's creation and everything and being placed on this earth, is that you have to be an individual, just like Keanu Reeves was in The Matrix. You have to be designated as the one. You have to go through a certain situation where you're unsure if you're that special person in life. And the only way you're going to find it out is that those who know of you, like in the boxing realm, and those who see you compete, if they select you as that one special person that's competing in the sport, that's the only way you're going to be relevant in boxing. They have to select you just like they did Keanu for being number one. I was told that boxing credentials don't matter. What are credentials at the end of the day? It's what your achievements are per division, right? So when names come up like, certain fighters in comparison to who make more than what, I always say I really don't pocket watch fighters at all. I don't really care about the money issue, because when you make it a money issue, it really distracts away from the talent that's displayed in the ring from the fighter. But this day and time, in this era, you have individuals that refuse to look at the top 10 PPV sales, right? They refuse to look at the top 10 PPV sales because they don't want to go down. They don't want to go down the roster and see what Floyd Mayweather was able to do, right? So their statement, in order to build up the fighter they support, they would start talking about numbers. And look, anything we know in life is people come from all walks of life. Somebody might come. Let's keep it on boxing. Some people might come from a boxing footprint that's like considered the Mecca. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of boxing history that from since the inception that you can go back and you can research from that boxing footprint. And then there's others that may not come from an area that's considered a boxing footprint and never will be. Why? Because that's just not what they are interested in that state, or whatever the case may be. They may never want to host boxing. The resident there is not interested in boxing. They may be interested in snowboarding. They may be interested in off-road biking. You know what I'm saying? Skateboarding, something. But when it comes to boxing, though, I was told it's all about the butts and the seats. It's not about credentials, y'all. It's all about who's popular. At the end of the day, it's about who's popular, bro. It's not all about how many verses of the Bible they know. You know what I'm saying? It's not what their GPA was in middle school to high school. It's not what they do for the community before they came into boxing. It's all about them putting butts in the seats. That's the crack code of boxing. It's all about putting butts in the seats. I was told credentials don't matter. It's all about putting butts in the seat. And when they told me that, I'm just cogitating the fact, like, wow, all this time, I believe that boxers needed some type of credentials, some type of damn championship straps to build up their portfolio. But no, it's all about being popular. It's all about the respect. It's all about a fighter being popular to put butts in the seats. Now, granted, these fighters are not coming anywhere close to what Floyd Mayweather was able to do in numbers. You know what I'm saying? These fighters are not even come close to what Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis was able to do in boxing. All right. It's too much to continue to bring up Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. It's too much to bring up Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you bring up the top PPV sales, they all had something to do with credentials. Manny Pacquiao's career had everything to do with credentials. So let's just say to the boxers who's listening in the WCS, if you're out here striving to pick up a championship belt and basically submit yourself in your profession as being a world champion, why? You should ask yourself why. Because, I'm being told that it's all about putting butts in the seats. So what triggers a butt coming to the arena to sit down? What triggers that? Because in comparison to a debate about two fighters and one fighter supposedly don't do high numbers, they say it doesn't have anything to do with credentials. So you can take a fighter with only a single division and win championships, vice a fighter who's won multiple championships in other divisions. But just because the fighter with multiple divisions aren't selling as many tickets as this guy who's chose to be a hometown favorite. You know what I'm saying? He lives in an area outside of where he was actually birthed. It comes down to the more popular guy. Why is this guy popular? Because he's in a conversation with another popular fighter. But his nemesis right now has more divisions and championships than he does. But I was told, this is what cracked the code. I was told it's all about butts in the seats at the end of the day. Credentials really don't matter for real, for real. That's what I was told. Credentials really don't matter for real, for real. Now, to be honest with you, I think it's a crock of shit. But I'm just saying, that's what I was told that cracked the matrix for me forever. We have individuals who say they follow the sport of boxing and they say that putting butts in the seat matter. But then when you bring up and you're up here providing some type of material to source why you're debating or attempting to debunk what they just said, and you bring up championships and divisions, their narrative is, well, what numbers have he did? What numbers? So when that person was building up their championships in those divisions and they won the championship, numbers weren't really a big deal. But now you get to a point where the conversation is almost routine. Like the conversation is different. Like people talk about social media all the time. Now in boxing, they talk about numbers. They talk about numbers as if it's across the board that these fighters are doing Floyd Mayweather numbers. Like hell, Canelo Alvarez isn't doing incredible numbers comparable to what we have in the top 5. He's not able to do that, but he is able to pick up championships. So I said to myself, why should I sit up here and debate? Shout out to Mr. Fitness. What's good? Says salute World Combat Sports. Salute to you. It's now about popularity and followers. It all depends on who you're talking about. The standards aren't equal for all. Man, he done said a lot. He just said a lot. He said it all depends on who you talking about. The standards aren't equal for all. And see, the word equal is exactly where I'm at right now. You may not want to listen. You may not want to digest it, but you hear me. You're telling me that in boxing today, right, it's all about putting butts in the seats, but you don't want to provide me with the source of information as to how the butts are supposed to get in the seats. If indeed you don't have any criteria to base that off of, then I suggest that I'm going to tell you something. Well, wouldn't the butts, the attraction, come from what that fighter has accomplished in their career? Wouldn't that be a logical scenario based, you know what I'm saying, response to that? And then you say, well, not really, because so-and-so, he didn't beat nobody for that. No, but I'm talking about credentials. They won this title. They moved on. They won that title. They won this title. They won that title. They're multi-time world champion. They're multi-divisional weight champion. But in this particular case right here, credentials don't matter. Why? Because we dealing with a more popular fighter. So a more popular fighter that really did shit in boxing, his numbers truly only matter for his popularity and not the credentials that he's achieved. Somebody please provide me the information. I need some type of algorithm to all process this. Maybe I can figure the database incorrectly and put the wrong subnet mask, because I deal with PCs most of my life too. I deal with configurations of databases and servers and all this shit. Maybe I put the wrong configuration. Maybe the IP route was incorrect. The numbers are not filtering in neurologically for me. How is this all supposed to work? Like, how do you bring butts to the seats of popularity if you ain't did shit in boxing? What are we getting at right now? All the individuals I know of the past, they are celebrated for their achievements. They are celebrated for their achievements. Most of the time when you read these scripts on a short bio of these fighters in the past, all they doing is just giving you what they won. So and so was the first to do this. So and so won this many titles. So and so reigned for this many years. So and so beat this person who was a champion at the time, and he went on to defend his title this amount of times. When there was only this amount of divisions in, so and so was able to come champion this amount of times. So and so went and won 80 some straight victories. You know what I'm saying? He was the first to do this. It's based off achievements. So let's just take so and so, let's say subject name fighter. He won 80 straight. He went on a winning streak of 80 straight. Right? And people's like, wow, 80 straight. Wow, unbelievable. So take somebody back then winning 80 straight and put them in here today. So, put them in the same seat, in the same environment, in a group setting where people are saying that credentials don't matter, only putting butts in the seats. So you take somebody who won 80 straight fights and they haven't won a world title yet, but they're well respected. People know them. They don't really care about titles. They won 80 straight fights and people are enamored the fact that they was able to do that. Do you think in this group setting today, this day and time, that they're going to celebrate this fighter for winning 80 straight fights without a championship? The question in a group setting this day and time is, the question will be asked, okay, within those 80 fights, you couldn't find a champion? You could not find a freaking champion? You could not win one belt and you fought 80 straight times? Everybody on your roster is bums. Bums. That's what they're going to say. Because you don't have a champion. So if we sit up here and highlight fighters of what they've been able to achieve, that achievement being championship belts, then guess what? Somehow the common denominator that brings everything together is when they punch their ticket, when they go online and purchase their ticket, or when they in the arena and sit their ass down and start eating the popcorn and they all happy that they're watching the fight. You don't think it has any influence, the titles that individual has won in life, the credentials, how decorated that fighter is? We're not talking about military decoration. So-and-so was a 4-time combat vet. He's 80 fights in. He has an 80-fight win streak. Fought 0 champions. Hey, put your hands together and welcome. They're not going to go for that shit. That's not what brings people into the arena. What brings individuals to the seat is all about where they're from, how they've been able to influence the boxing community, whatever way it is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever way that the boxing community look at these people and say, you know what? I like that person right now, what he's doing. Not he's a good guy, but it might be who he fought. You know what I'm saying? How many times he's fought, how he looked when he was fighting, all of that for the butts to come to the seats. If you think for 1 second that the butts in the seats are popularity and you want to say, well, so-and-so, he sells more PPVs than the guy that they want him to fight, then you have to ask yourself, like, is he going down in history with those numbers? Or does it only matter in relation to the fighter that everybody wants him to fight, that has credentials, more credentials than he does? It boils down to like that his opposition, who they're calling out, who's in everybody's conversation, he has more credentials than this fighter. But you're saying this fighter at this point in time is more popular. He sells more. So it's all about money now, because pretty much debunking that he's better than that guy that's always in the conversation when his name is brought up. Those individuals not confident to say, yeah, he'll go in there and defeat that opponent. They're not confident. So they'll turn it into a money issue. Well, we all know that so and so sells more. Oh, for real? I get even more clueless when the names that they're comparing this guy for popularity, the names that has brought him to popularity, aren't considered great fighters. But then they go back in history as if someone don't study boxing. Then they say, hey, guess who made it into the Hall of Fame? You know, they didn't do too much, but they made it in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's gonna be 1,000 scenarios for this shit all the fucking time, dog. But now boxing doesn't have to be concerned about credentials. It's all about popularity and numbers. And those numbers don't come close to what the cash cow Floyd Money Mayweather was putting in the seats. You're not doing those numbers. So if you're not doing his numbers, something that's etched in history, then therefore you should redirect your focus and start fighting for legacy. The word legacy, bro. What does that mean? Does that mean a fighter with 8 straight wins? Or does legacy include those who have went up here and achieved astounding medals during their professional career, such as championship belts, defending those championship belts, defeating certain names that may have been reigning, defending at the time they defeated them and put their name on their resume? I don't know. Boxing is very confusing. Not so much the sport itself, but how people place this shit in on a spreadsheet. You know what I'm saying? And they have it on a spreadsheet dissected in so many damn areas, so many grids. You don't really know what direction to go in. The data information is confusing. The numbers are incorrect. You really have no solid information as to how a fighter supposed to just base everything on popularity when his opponent has met all the standards. His opponent is meeting everything that you need to fight a reputable opposition. And that reputable opposition is someone that is the current reigning, defending, or they have basically earned a title in the previous division. It's just like going into a job. You're qualified. That opposition is qualified, shawty. They're qualified to be in the ring with you because they have been a champion. You a champion. I mean, you know what I'm saying? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Common sense says they're qualified to compete in the ring with you. Not only do they possess the skills and the common knowledge to defend themselves and go in there and offensively delegate and execute as a professional fighter, but they have achieved the top of the food chain in earning a world championship title fight. So at this point, how do we get fans in this? How do we get butts in the seat? How can you say boxing credentials don't matter, but butts in the seat does? And then if that is your sticking point, how are you going to reference the butts being there? What attracts? What is the draw for these individuals to come see these fighters contend? What is the draw? There has to be something that's out there, bro. Why are these fans walking, taking their time to change up, buy a ticket, and come to an arena and see a fighter fight? Is it just because it's a gentleman's sport and they're coming to hang out for the weekend? Why are they coming to see these fighters fight? You think they're actually walking through the door because you're saying so-and-so sold this amount of PPVs? Do you think that's across the board like Mr. Fitness said? The standards aren't equal for all. So not every boxer can be popular. If that was the case, this would be a lucrative sport. If every boxer across the board was popular and gave a damn to go out here and act a fool and take pictures all the time and dress up and do little things to get people's attention, then go to the damn boxing ring and fight just a mediocre opponent, as long as they putting butts in the seats, We don't care about credentials, as long as you put butts in the seats. This sport would be amazing. There'd be so many rich fighters in this sport. I'm telling you, it would change the game. If the promoters can come up with something to place their fighters out there for popularity enhancement, just find a way for, a PR to build up PR teams across the board and get the notoriety of these fighters out there in the homes of these boxing fans. So when it comes time for them, a fight come close enough for them to fly out or drive, they already have the numbers. They have the popularity numbers, the P numbers. They have the popularity numbers right there at their access, and that's going to convince them, okay, I really need to go see this guy. He's doing 80,000. For real. He did 80,000 this time. He did 125 here, 230 there. Yeah, let me go ahead. This guy's doing numbers. I like it. But what if it was equal across the board? What if numbers was equal across the board? Then you will have to convince everyone that's paying attention to the numbers to start following what your belief is. Your belief is numeric numbers. That is your belief. So not only do you consider it to be that way, but you have to convince others that's the importance of that fighter being somebody special in the sport of boxing. You have to convince them. They're putting butts in the seats without even being recognized for doing this, this, and this. I'm just being honest with you, bro. RB, what's good? Salute WCS, keep grinding, OG. Appreciate you. So anyone that's looking at the thumbnail understands where this is at right here. If you don't care about credentials and world titles and what a fighter has done, that's how your audience is going to look. Just like that kid sitting up there and he's like, damn, I'm disappointed. If you don't care about credentials, all because you're trying to compare another fighter to this fighter to make a fight, it doesn't make any sense. It's just temporary understanding. It's just like a temporary boxing fan. You're not truly understanding, to be honest with yourself. Because if Floyd Mayweather, if that was his whole, his entire intent was to just box, and really not be concerned with earning the championship or divisions, then why did he do it? That was a huge part of his success, right? And also what Floyd Mayweather was able to do, which once he built up and convinced Al Heyman that he was special, and he was able to go in there and win his first title, that put him on the map. Now, with those championships that he was able to, take ownership of, he had a certain type of old school term swagger, or he had a different type of persona that people was attracted to. He was living a flashy, fly lifestyle, and people was like looking at him like, damn, I wish I could have that. Man, look at all those cars he got. Look at this, look at that. You think Floyd Mayweather would have drew in that attraction if he didn't have boxing skills? Do you think his boxing skills, if he didn't have top-notch, elite boxing skills, he ever would have won titles? And then with those titles, do you not think as a champion, it doesn't earn you more money than you had previously without the titles? And with more money, you're able to do more things, right? Because you have championship straps. So then don't you think the numbers of popularity with your audience would now increase? That shit would now increase because you are a champion. They appreciate your boxing skills. It all blends in together. But certain fighters get to pick and choose and fight lesser lower tier competition, and they got the popularity though. But with that said, it's gonna run out, because in boxing you can get away with that only for a certain window, and then it's gonna run out. But certain fighters, they just have that about them. They can do less, but they have the popularity. See, I tell people all the time about Conor McGregor. You know, you get a boxing fan that's strictly about boxing, and they're talking about how Floyd Mayweather made all this money with Conor McGregor. But what they don't tell you is his dance partner was a two-division champion, two-division world champion. What they're not going to tell you about Conor McGregor is the fact that he was the first one ever to do it in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. That's not what they're going to tell you. They're not going to tell you the man knocked out Jose Aldo at featherweight at 145 pounds, knocked him out in 13 seconds, and then moved all the way up to fight a damn mixed martial arts legend in Nate Diaz. Got subbed out, lost. He didn't lose his belt, lost. That is what's legendary about this shit. He lost. He was subbed out by Nate Diaz. And then they did a rematch at 170. He went from 45 to 170. 45 to 170. What brought butts to the seats was, for one, his bravado and the fact that he was a featherweight champion. So when he came in there to the rematch with Nate and went the distance, Dana White allowed him to drop back down to 155. He was still the featherweight world champion. He did not lose that at 170. So when he came back and fought Eddie Alvarez, he knocked him out. He became the featherweight and lightweight world champion. He was a two-division champion with losses on his record before he even entered the UFC, y'all. So when he started talking shit to Floyd Mayweather, it really wasn't him. He felt that he can possibly link up with Floyd Mayweather and start trash talking money based off what Ronda Rousey was doing. They looked at what Ronda Rousey was doing with Floyd and the amount of attention that she was getting. So Conor said, you know what, I'm gonna start doing it. You know, he started talking shit. So why would he even have any relevance or say so when it comes to the boxing arena with Floyd Mayweather? Because we knew Floyd wasn't coming over here to the damn cage. How is Floyd so popular at this time? Because of what he's been able to accomplish and the belts he's been able to earn. Why was Conor so popular? What he's been able to accomplish and the belt he was able to earn. He earned championships in two different divisions at the same time. He was champion simultaneously in two different divisions, featherweight and lightweight. So when the shit caught fire in the media, both of these guys had achieved a high level in their respective combat sports. That's why people came to see them, because of what they seen as far as their performances and the credentials that they initially piled up in their career. That's why they was impressed. They wasn't impressed because they can throw combinations. They wasn't impressed because it was a black and white fighter challenging one another. They wasn't just impressed because Conor McGregor is Irish and he has an accent and he can talk his shit. They wasn't just impressed off Floyd Mayweather, you know, being this dude who was braggadocious and flaunting his shit. In order for Floyd to even try to make that money, get to that monetary goal, he had to do what? He had to win championships. The championships only imploded what he had going on in boxing. When he brought his personality into it and into the entire equation, it just hit a whole nother stratosphere. Because Floyd fit perfectly into what boxing fans can latch on to. Their attachment to Floyd Mayweather, the attraction that they had, was because he had a special dynamic. He was winning in the ring. He was championship quality. He looked good doing it. You know what I'm saying? He was defensively genius. And he talked this shit. If Floyd wouldn't have had no belts, if Floyd wouldn't have been making any money, to the point where people began to lean into it and say, you know, what this dude doing so special? No one would have came and saw Floyd fight if they didn't like how he fight. They had to know how he fought. I mean, they had to have some type of enticement as to what he how his performance was in the ring. And then with that performance, what have you been able to achieve, Shawty? What have you achieved? They say you one of the best. You look the best. You defensively and offensively gifted. But what have you earned? Have you earned a championship? Nah. I'm just working on my IG and my damn social media account right now because it's all about popularity, putting butts in the seats. That's what they telling me. That's what Al's telling me. That's why he brought me on board, because he said, hey man, you have the face, the look, and everything to be popular. Titles are a main reason most boxers fight. And that's what I'm saying. I'd be like, when you say that, it seems like it was easy for you to understand that shit. Why isn't it easy for people to look at certain fighters and then comparing them to potentially stepping in the ring with one another? Why are they important? It's just so easy to understand. Why are these fighters? And you know, I gotta bring up the Bud and Errol situation. Why are people even talking about these fighters? Why is when Errol Spence, their only claim to fame for this declaration is what Spence has done at welterweight division? So if it wasn't for his championship belts, what would have happened? No one would be coming to see him fight in Texas. If it weren't for him having a resident in Texas, would he be as popular in Texas than he is? But when you include the championships, they have to be an intricate part of why you are trying to advocate for Spence having a higher percentage to go in there and fight Bud Crawford. It doesn't make sense to me that you're just basing this shit off the numbers, the small numbers that he's done, and the minor accomplishments that he's been able to complete. For instance, they talk about resume to resume when it comes to Bud Crawford, but they'll just leave out his dang 3 divisions because that shit doesn't matter. I was told that doesn't matter, bro. That doesn't matter. It only matters if we're talking about Errol Spence, though. Like, even with Deontay Wilder defending his title over 5 years, that didn't matter because the popularity may come at the expense of someone's ignorance. Real talk. And what I mean by that is not being disrespectful. It's the fact that we live in a judgmental world, right? So people sit up here all the time and say, oh, I like that person better than that person. Why? And then we're looking at the entire layout of why we like boxing. So you ask this person, why do you like this person more than you like that person? And they'll tell you some shit like, I just don't like the way he act. He talks too much. He's too braggadocious. You say, excuse me? Yeah, he just talks too much. He's too braggadocious. He's too flamboyant. You know what I'm saying? He always talking this shit, and I get tired of hearing it all the time. But what about him in the ring though? Yeah, he can box. I give him that. He can box, but I just like the other guy better than him because I don't like this guy over here. I like him because he it's a certain mystique. His mystique is different. His aura, it touches me different when they talk about this guy. When it comes to boxing, you know what I'm saying? That's where we at right now, bro. When you speak popularity to me, there's action to go along with it. And this is why it's extremely hypocritical to say that credentials don't matter just because it's coming to Bud Crawford. Why? Because what Canelo has been able to do lately has everything to do with consolidating credentials and building his portfolio. When you're building your portfolio, that means you're advancing, right? If you're working for corporate and you're building your portfolio, it's all about what advancements have you made in life, right? Your portfolio shouldn't say for 5 years, I did absolutely nothing different than I did in the first year. Oh, good. We're going to take you off your experience. You're seasoned. Okay, we're promoting you. No, they want to see a combined effort of initiative. Canelo is up here taking initiative. Now, I'm not boosting up bragging about Canelo. I'm just saying how people are extremely on his side when it comes to what he's been able to do. When he's stepping up and facing the soft Rocky Fieldings. But he got a title. He was a champion. He was a title. And then he scoops up a 2-for-1 chicken dinner with the WBC, WBA. And Callum Smith comes in there and act like a Macy's mannequin. But he was a world champion. But why did he fight Callum Smith? Because Callum Smith was an active world champion at the time. So credentials do matter when he unified the 168-pound division. Credentials do matter when Canelo is deciding to move up the cruiserweight and fight Makabu. Credentials do matter. Why we have two black fighters at welterweight, and we have somewhat of a black audience that choose to not provide both of these fighters the respect that Canelo is getting in moving up and fighting certain people. Why all of a sudden, when it comes to dang Errol Spence and Bud Crawford, it's all about percentages. It's all about what another fighter deserve and don't deserve. But for Canelo, what he's doing is collecting titles. What Shakur Stevenson is doing, collecting a title in the second division. Oscar Valdez collecting titles. Teofimo Lopez, he collected titles. Vasily Lomachenko collected titles. Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder for the title. Alexander Usyk unified the cruiserweight for the titles. And some of the greats ever. Why did Sugar Ray Robinson defend his title so many times? Why he just didn't vacate if it didn't mean anything? Because I can guarantee you this, the numbers back then wasn't like the numbers that attend boxing today, because they didn't come close to social media. So therefore, taking what he was able to do with limited numbers, it still placed him in history as one of the best boxers to ever do it, shout. One of the best boxers to ever do it. Why is Oscar De La Hoya praised outside of his performance in the ring? Because of what he was able to accomplish. What else is there to say when it comes to this boxing game? It's all over the place, man. You saying that it all entails, it deals with popularity, but how do you build up your stock and your portfolio and your Wall Street in the sport? You have to addition that with what? Accomplishments, goals, achievements, badges. Those badges are championships. Those badges are something that you did that the other guy hasn't done yet. Something that separate you from average to above average, from good to great. A man attribute I lean towards in my favorite fighters are the ones who box smart and make the least mistakes. High boxing IQ. Absolutely real talk, bro. When boxing IQ have a lot to do with if you're performing and you're basically displaying that boxing IQ, it complements your performance, and you're even in a position to win a championship fight because of that boxing IQ and performance. And with that championship, now you're able to go into the next fight making even more money. So if you pick up a championship belt, do they just say, oh, you're going to make the same amount of money that you made last fight when you wasn't champion because you only have this amount of social media followers? Is that the disclaimer? Is that how they're going to approach you when you go in for table talks? Oh, you're supposed to be fighting that guy. This guy over here. He's a champion too. But I check your social media account. You're not as popular as he is. And plus, they said that he had 250 dang people in the arena to your 80. And then the fighter asked, well, wasn't he in his hometown? Yeah, but he had higher numbers. Okay, it's putting butts in the seat. He has higher numbers. People don't think about and process that. It all depends on where that fighter is fighting. It all depends in this era on social media. Who's up here talking about this fighter? Or if that fighter gives a damn about talking to the fans in between fights. People are mesmerized off the wrong criteria. They're mesmerized, bro. You up here building up divisions, knowing that person's going to the Hall of Fame, but yet you have a person that's not even close to the Hall of Fame, but yet you want to compare him to somebody who was in a single division their whole entire career. You want to compare him to a person for which he haven't even reached that level of notoriety yet. I'm not curious as to why it goes down like this. I'm not curious. You know, I just know something to be a reality at this day and time. We have too many people that are basing everything off access. You know, we have different platforms to speak. Voices are being heard. You have leaders and you have followers. Understand that. You have leaders and you have followers. The YouTube community, the individuals that's frequent here on YouTube is not even 1% of the population in life. It's a very small dot. That small dot has a group of people internal to it that speak on boxing. Everybody have different narratives. Everybody support different fighters. Some of them who support the same fighter doesn't mean they're going to basically agree with the other person that's supporting the same fighter. But then I always hear this, y'all. I always hear this shit like, I really fuck with Bud, but you know, he should stop doing this and this to Dan Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is did this, and you know, he's did these numbers. Errol Spence ain't really did shit in boxing besides beat two people who came into the square who have already been beaten. That's all he did. Now, if you take away Lamont Peterson, look, hear me out. You take away Lamont Peterson, Carlos Ocampo, and Mikey Garcia. They want to talk about what Errol Spence has been doing at welterweight, but he didn't get any recognition except going into the backyard of Kell Brook. Cool. Kudos. And like I said before, spin this shit forward, extract Lamont Peterson, extract Carlos Ocampo, extract Mikey Garcia. Now what? You want to talk about Sean Porter and Danny Garcia? I mean, come on, man. This popularity shit is insanely debilitating when it comes to what you expect from some of these individuals who say they really talk the sport. It's insanely debilitating, bro. You can get on, you can sit up here and put this shit. Hold on. You can hear this. You can listen to this shit right here. Hold on for a second.
You know, that's why it's gonna happen. Hopefully he beats Jeff Horn and gets that belt. And like, you get a go over there. Keith Thurman want to go over there, and now y'all want to say, "Oh, I ain't fought nobody," but I got a belt now, so okay. Sean Porter got a belt too. So now Sean Porter got a belt.
So does this have to do with popularity though, or it has to be with absolute denial? Like, what are you talking about popularity? Errol Spence is not doing some incredible numbers when he's fighting a nobody. You know what I'm saying? When does it all come down to the overall sport of boxing that it has a lot to do with championships?
I want to be undisputed welterweight champion of the world. So when he does get that belt, we can make it happen.
Showing up ringside, do you think that helps build some buzz to make it a big fight?
No.
What?
I probably wouldn't go to none of his fights, so I'm not worried about Terrence Crawford. Like I said,
Garcia.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying, people? I'm talking to grown ass men and women. Like, come on now. He probably wouldn't go to any of Terrence Crawford fights, but then turn around. It's all about a popularity contest, right? So it must have been some hellified popularity for him to show up at Terrence Crawford fight, watching him fight a common opponent that he's already been in the ring with. And then we have people making up, oh, they already told him not to go in the ring. You know, COVID protocol. That don't have shit to do with it because his family was in the ring dancing. That shit been over for a while.
What do you want next?
I'm just I'm gonna chill on my ranch.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Whenever you're ready, I'm here. At the welterweight division, you gotta take back seat, take that 60-40 or 70-30, whatever we give. I'm calling out
Take 60, 40, 70, 30, wherever we get him. Wherever we give him.
top guys. I'm the one who went overseas and took the belt from, arguably at that time he was the best welterweight in the division. A lot of people want to talk about when I say, we on different side of the streets and things like that. It's true. Me and Terrence Crawford on different side of the street.
What?
ESPN. I don't fight for ESPN. I fight for Showtime and Fox.
Bro, they made up a whole street divided boxing with Terrence Crawford and everybody else. When that ever happened?
Did you hear? No, we're talking about popularity bringing butts to the seats. Pundits are saying bringing butts to the streets. Butts to the seats, y'all. Are y'all not listening to this? Butts to the seats is basically hydrating our popularity. No, the popularity thing is just a cover. Popularity is just a cover because the individuals who are out here knowing what Errol Spence wasn't able to get done, they're unsure about fully supporting him. And people sit up here and say, well, I support both fighters. You may support both fighters. Cool. That's okay for you to support both fighters. But what I'm trying to tell you is only one should step out of this equation as the winner. Only one. It's all about who you have your absolute confidence in and stepping into the ring to make this shit happen. Popularity is more than a popularity contest to now make it about freaking numbers when you're not getting a percentage which equals 0.1. You're not even getting a value higher than 0 off your popularity. You think you talking about a certain fighter and you saying how much money he's going to cut you a percentage and send it to your Cash App, you get 0%. That's why I really don't talk about freaking money. People feel that they're CFOs, chief financial officers, when it comes to this boxing game to further elevate a fighter's portfolio just because you want to debate about the fighter. But yet what's truly, truly important is what they've been able to accomplish while they've been competing in the sport. That is what matters, people, period. That's absolutely what matters.
Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
No, that fight's not happening right now.
Okay.
No, what fans?
Boxing fan.
Fight on pay-per-view, he did 100,000 buys. I'm not worried about Crawford right now. They don't really promote him like they should be, so it is what it is. We'll worry about Crawford when we get there, but like I said, Crawford need me more than I need him.
Did you hear that? Let me get my Russell what? Did you hear that? But every time we have a conversation about this, they want to do a chronological breakdown, and it's not even in correct order. This is public record. This is just common. This is just public ass shit that I'm putting out here. He said we'll get around Crawford when we get around him. Errol Spence up here explaining different sides of the street. Errol Spence is up here saying shit. But what does the popularity of the butts in the seat has to do with a freaking conversation about two of the elite fighters facing one another? It's disappointing to listen to this shit. It's absolutely disappointing that individuals are using this narrative just because Errol Spence used it. I heard Bud and Sean Porter did 135K. Whoopity doo dah. Whoopity doo dah.
It's a fighting motherfucker.
Think you would fight him? Are you interested as a fighter, as a champion, in seeing who the best dude is, like Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns once did, whether or not he's with the PBC?
Yeah, I'm definitely actually interested in fighting Terrence Crawford. I think it's a great fight. You know, he has a world title. I want to be undisputed welterweight champion in the world, like I said. So I feel like we're gonna have to cross that path soon. I'll tax reports at the end of the year. I guarantee I'll make money. What's my bet? I'll bet 100,000 on that.
Let's bet $1 million.
Easy.
Let's bet $1 million. You getting that money, right?
Easy. Let's bet $1 million easy. What are you talking about? There it goes. We're talking about.
Can we get both of them in the ring? Can we get both of them in the ring?
He said, I'm fighting Mikey. Then I might fight Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. So he had Pacquiao.
Mikey, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. It's popularity. It's butts in the seats. Mikey, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. Mikey, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. It's butts in the seats, though. It's butts in the seats. What numbers was Mikey doing? Seriously, what numbers was Mikey doing when they linked up? Because then Mikey get damn near a 50-50 split. So correct me if I'm wrong. Was Errol Spence defending his title against Mikey Garcia at the time? Has he did any big numbers at that point in time? Has Mikey did any good solid numbers? Was Mikey Garcia, is he considered anything more than a quieter Oscar De La Hoya or a damn a Jesse Vargas clone? Do any of these fighters known for their personalities? No, they're known for, Mikey's known for being a 4-division champion. Where's the popularity at? How can Mikey get damn near equal money to Errol Spence when he fought him? How can you say popularity, bro, brings butts to the seats? That's all that matters. Then credentials don't have nothing to do with it. It does, because without credentials, Mikey wouldn't be shit. Without credentials, Kell Brook wouldn't have been fighting Errol Spence in his backyard just for free. So credentials, you can never say credentials are none and void when it comes to him and Terrence Crawford fighting.
Sean's not selling out anything. He fought in California with nobody there. So, and Sean already decided to fight his mandatory because I wanted to fight Sean. If Sean wanted to fight, this Mike Garcia fight probably wouldn't have happened. But, he got busy trying to, take the easy way out. So now Sean Porter got a bet. So why am I go to the easy road and not Sean Porter out? Ooh, yeah.
You want to know what's not popular? It's the fact that he just admitted that Sean Porter wasn't selling. But yet when Sean Porter fight Danny Garcia for the vacant WBC and wins, and wins, all of a sudden he's important for Errol Spence. You know why he's important? It don't fucking matter who was in the seats. All that matters is that he had a WBC title, and Errol Spence has made a declaration to go in there and unify the welterweight division. That's what matters. That's what matters. If he just gave you the same thing that you all are putting on Bud, right? I'm speaking in general. This is not a Bud Errol Spence. I'm providing you with the overlay, right? Of why is asinine to continue to talk about butts in the seats and popularity when it comes to Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. Because you just heard him say that Sean Porter wasn't doing shit, right? But when Sean Porter got that WBC title, it didn't matter what he said previously. It all mattered that he had that WBC belt. He was all quick to talk about Sean didn't want to fight me. Well, Sean fought you. with low numbers. So I'm asking to his people that advocates for Errol Spence, why do all of a sudden numbers matter for this fight? Why does butts in the seats matter? Strictly butts in the seats. Why does it matter? Why don't you just make the fight? Because butts didn't matter when Sean Porter won the WBC title. If you're unifying the division, guess what? How much does a WBO title cost that Terrence Crawford has? If you don't feel he does enough numbers, just come up with a damn price tag and pay for the belt. Buy it. Because Terrence Crawford, in your narrative, in the same position as Sean Porter. Neither one of them are putting butts in the seats, right? So therefore, we have to go to the secondary point of attraction. The point of attraction is he has a belt. Sean Porter had a belt. Terrence Crawford has a belt. So why are you not compromising outside of using the same shit? Well, Terrence Crawford, he only did this. But you said the same thing with Sean Porter, and then Sean Porter got the belt. You took the easier route. And I'm going to close it down with this right here. It's one thing he would not say when it comes, and his people won't say when it comes to this popularity shit. Popularity sounds good and all, but it's one thing that they'll say that you won't hear him say. When it comes to Bud Crawford, he ain't an easy route. So since he ain't an easy route, they got to put money into the equation and try to say, well, Bud Crawford should just take what Terrence Crawford giving him. Yeah, because you don't think it's an easy route. If you felt it was an easy route, you would be encouraging him to go ahead over there and do it. But no, you're not hearing that. Oh, I go over there and take the easy route with Crawford instead of fighting Yordenis Ugas first. Fuck it. I'm going over there and fighting Terrence Crawford. I'm take the easy route just like I did Sean Porter. We know that ain't happening, shawty. That shit isn't happening. So I'm not here to debunk anything. I'm just providing some opinionated, responses, and also some facts. Sprinkle some factoids on there. Factoids are important. Even though you may talk, present some factoids, the listener always going to try to break it down and say, nah. That's boxing. That's boxing in general. It's nothing that I'm going to lose sleep over. But I'm just saying, you heard for yourself in the audio that Sean Porter wasn't selling. So if you're saying Terrence Crawford isn't selling either, what's next? If he's not putting butts in the seats, what more do you want? What more do you want from him? You want the belt, right? So stop bringing in numbers and thinking that you're doing this shit all by yourself. No, you're doing numbers that you're doing because of who you've been in there with, where you've been fighting. You're doing pretty decent numbers, just like I said with Anthony Joshua. They said he was selling out Wembley and all that shit. I say, who? He only sold out Wembley when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. He didn't go in there and box and shadow box for 12 rounds and people's like, oh shit, I was highly entertained. That's not how the shit works. There's no need for this to be included in the debate because, it just comes down to I'm really not on here to show how deep I do go into this boxing shit. I'm not here because it'll never be it's a never ending saga. You know what I'm saying? This shit is a never ending saga on boxing debates. It's never ending. And I really don't want to like people will look at you and say, oh, you're much older, but you do learn a lot of wisdom when you get older on certain things when it comes to grown adults. And being that I came from an era without social media to what I'm actually experiencing right now as a 50-plus-year-old man, right? There's a lot of shit you just don't take personal and you don't really take the heart when some of these younger people do, and they don't get it. Why you just don't care about? I don't care about explaining stuff in depth detail over and over again to try to be super right to impress them. I'm just telling you, based off the knowledge that I have off recall, right? I'm just saying, if it's all about the popularity, how do fighters build up popularity in boxing? They have to earn some type of medal, a championship credential to add to their damn Wall Street. How difficult is that shit to understand? You get a fighter in here that's 20-0, 25-0 with no championship. They're going to say he ain't fought nobody. He ain't selling no. Look, perfect example with Boots Ennis. They're going to say Boots Ennis ain't fought nobody until he fights somebody. He's good and all. He has a lot of fights. He has over 20 professional fights. But who has he fought? Boots Ennis is an upcoming rising star. But they're not going to provide him that twinkle that he's looking for with that Twilight. They're not going to provide Boots with that twinkle until he steps in there with a bigger name. That bigger name wasn't Sergey Lipin yet, so stop it. When Boots get his opportunity, then that's what it's going to be. To now, not too long ago, they were saying, oh, he ain't fought nobody. So how do Boots Ennis build up his popularity? A lot. You can do process of elimination. You can have people talking about word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because his popularity isn't up there. His popularity is probably, with hit new heights when he's able to step in there and have a big fight with a champion or something. But outside of that, it's difficult. We just seen what happened with Teofimo Lopez. The special part about his popularity came not from, who he fought before Nakatani. His popularity came when pretty much he went in there and knocked out Richard Comey. His popularity came from his dad talking shit and being boisterous and talking about what his son was going to do in 15 fights. That's where his popularity came. But guess what? Teofimo Lopez wasn't doing no grand numbers in those seats. They wasn't talking about Teofimo Lopez because of seats. They're not talking about Shakur Stevens because of seats. They even look at Gervonta Davis and say, oh, yeah, he's 3-division champion, but he ain't selling tickets. But look, if you go to his fights, the arena is packed. It's all about the capacity for which they choose to fill and sell tickets to. If you look on one of my interviews, I asked Leonard Ellaby, I said, what's going to be the ticket capacity? He didn't tell me, because if your ticket capacity is, say, 3,000, a lot of people look at that and say, that's not a large number. I'm just using that for example. So when you have advocates that's out here for these fighters, promoters, they really don't like disclosing the ticket capacity when they dare. They just say, oh, it sold this. It sold 60,000. It did this. It did that. And people say, oh, okay, all right. But do we really know what the numbers are? Do we truly know what the numbers are when they're coming from across the pond? Because Eddie Hearns bloviate this shit. So does he bloviate the numbers to build up popularity? Is it factual that, you can sit up here and say this amount of people attended the fight or this amount of people bought PPVs? And every time now, regardless of who he's stepping in the ring with, the frontline topic of discussion should be, hey, so-and-so did 235,000 PPV buys, right? So with that said, I know I have one title, but I'm more popular because I've been fighting on this footprint most of the time. I know I have one title. You have 3 titles. Them titles, man, I know you have 2 more divisions than I do. But we're talking about how many butts that I put in the seat over here. Man, it doesn't, it's insane to believe that is the topic. Seriously, y'all, just think back And just put your index finger on your forehead and just lean into it and just rest it on your hand and just think. Close your eyes and just exhale and say, is this really what boxing about right now? Like, we have some of these guys that will never be in the top 15 of the greatest boxers to ever do it. Some of these fighters will never be in the top 30 of the best boxers to ever do it. But you will have people today talking about it's all about butts in the seats based off a popularity contest that they're creating. It's the facade that they're creating. They're building up this. They're putting this fighter in character. It's not something that the masses are agreeing with. It's something that they're creating. If you can get enough of your followers to respond to what you're talking about, whether it be falsity, then they'll latch on to it. They say, okay, all right. That's true, man. It's really, really true. I used to come on here and I always wanted to be clear and concise about what I was saying. And then I found out, damn, you got a lot of motherfuckers out here that's listening to people that's being absolutely wrong about shit. People can be antagonistic and you can be sneaky about being antagonistic. It's all about who you're trying to antagonize. Really, it's all about who you're trying to antagonize. Like, people talk about other subjects, they're really unimportant, but they'll keep on talking about it, and they can be wrong just to antagonize a fighter that they don't support. They will build up the fighter they do by basically relaying information that's not true about another fighter. Bruce goes on deck. How you feel, bro? Cooking with Sir Senior on deck. Bruce says, salute family, World Combat Sports. I appreciate you, Bruce, for pulling up. Salute, bro. Keep cooking. I'm on my lunch break. Appreciate you for pulling up there, Sir Senior. I mean, that's the only way I can put it. Like, this shit is not personal, but when it comes down to social media, everything is narrative driven. I'm not knocking anyone who has an audience of people who's listening to them and agreeing and disagreeing. You know what I'm saying? There's leaders and there's followers. And you saying to yourself, but age appropriation saying you passed the critical period of learning and you're able to think for yourself, right? Okay, you would think so. But there are individuals that need to be a part of something that they truly aren't a part of. And that is called social media. I've said this over and over again when it comes to this boxing. They'll listen to the same person say stuff over and over again. After a long period of time of familiarization, they get comfortable. They're acclimated. They're conditioned to believing that most of what that person says has validity and merit. So they stick around. So when that person says something that's absolutely wrong, they still believe it to be right. I remember going through a lot of intelligent classes, intel classes, as we call them, speaking about future and current operations, you know, and when I was carrying messaging and you learn from certain people on, you know, the interrogation process of certain things that went on and being able to speak in a room full of people who deals with certain areas that's considered classified. And it all deals with command presence. It's all about your knowledge base. If you're up here saying something that interests who's listening to you, people will tune in. People's like, okay. Now, from coming from that era where you really couldn't sit up here unless you had the mouth-to-mouth conversation with individuals, right? On that particular subject, you really didn't know a whole lot. But now in this lifetime, you can Google shit. Like, boxing is an entity that's out there for the public. In the military, you know, certain things they talk to you about that in particular environment in the military and speaking about classified information, you have to be in meetings. You know, you have to tend certain things, and you wasn't able to Google shit that's classified. But with boxing, it's unclassified. But with unclassified material, everybody is able and have access to misconstrue it and put it out there as they see fit. That's social media. It's a big ball of damn yarn when it comes down to it. It's a huge ball of yarn that's out here. You take the strings of a yarn and you put that with IP addresses. The strings of IPs that's circulating out here in the technology world. Everything is IP based. Communication, mass communication is at the forefront. And then you're able to allow the tip of your fingers to go up here and put in search inquiries into engines and get responses. So with that becomes study. And then people are able to just read on what they want. And then certain things that you can't get off Google, Bing, Ask, you have to go up here and make your own interpretation on what you're trying to convince your audience. And that's when the finagling comes into play. That's when you're basically up here inserting bias into something. The bias is a point blank reason as to you not liking a specific fighter in case and reference. So you're gonna sit up here and take the information that you know, and then you're gonna then finesse it however you see fit. And you might deliver misconstrued information. And that happens a lot in the sport of boxing. But if we're going to sit up here and say championships and credentials and divisions don't matter, then why in the hell is fighters out here trying to earn championships and more divisions each and every time? Because it does matter. I shouldn't hear grown-ass adults talking about that Terrence Crawford, who has a family and he's a professional, any fighter. Deontay Wilder, I said the same thing about Deontay Wilder. Get paid everything you're supposed to. His shit was in order. So he's paid handsomely. Why people should think as long as both of these fighters has been in the sport of boxing, they shouldn't advocate for themselves to get paid what they should. You know who Errol Spence remind me of when he keeps talking this percentage shit is the same thing damn Eddie Hearn was doing when Deontay Wilder was trying to negotiate with Anthony Joshua. It was okay for Alexander Povetkin to go in there and fight and get paid a percentage, but yet they was just trying to give Deontay Wilder a flat fee with no back end, no PP, no nothing. He was just getting a straight up flat fee. That's bias. That's almost working, inside of the word civility, slavish labor wages. So what happens? Terrence Crawford capitulates. He compromises. Take, let's say, a 70-30. Errol Spence go in there and get his ass beat. What's the narrative going to be then? What's the narrative going to be then? Oh, he was still suffering residual effects from the accident. Oh, he had an eye injury. Oh, we don't know. It was a this, that, and that was a game plan. Terrence Crawford really didn't do that. Like, what is going to be your narrative? Because that's when I'm going to come hot and heavy, dog. I'm going to come in. It's going to be like closed air support, goddammit. I'm going to be flying in from a distance. I'm like, he took the damn 70-30 that you wanted. 60-40, whatever the case. He still lost the fight. What next? You want to talk, oh, he deserved a rematch. He deserved a rematch. Fuck it. And then that's what I'm going to say. For real? So who has he rematched since y'all damn glorifying his damn division? Who has Errol Spence rematched? And then I got the same question for Terrence Crawford. I'm just saying, like, that's shit that they would bring up if it came down to Errol Spence getting his ass whooped by Terrence Crawford. Popularity is out the window. You can have a stadium full of people just like Teofimo Lopez and still get beat up. Once again, you can have a stadium just like Teofimo did recently and still get beat up. So I'm just saying, why? Why the fuck are we talking about butts in the seats when you can still get beat up with butts in the seats and it doesn't change the outcome? When you lose the fight, you lose the fight. What does butts in the seat has to do with making a championship fight for legacy? If you're saying he hasn't did anything, if you're up here glorifying the small achievements of Errol Spence, then guess what? Don't make it about fucking numbers because that's going to work yourself out. Let's just talk about the skill sets against each other, the pluses and minuses of both of these fighters going in there fighting each other, what it means to the history in the welterweight division and getting one step closer to unifying these titles. Let's talk about the positive damn expectations that we have of both of these fighters. Let's talk about what comes after, if indeed we are blessed with the outcome that we predicted. Because everybody's going to be here with their own prognostication, right? And they're going to be predicting, hey, Errol Spence is going to do this, this, and this. And I see him defeating Bud in a split decision. I see Bud going in there, giving Errol this and that. I see him knocking his ass out in 7 rounds. You know, everybody's going to have their prediction. The predictions are going to piss people off, but it's positive talk about the fight going forward. Not money shit. You're not getting any money. Why are you talking about money? Unless you are up there in the conversation with what Floyd Money Mayweather was able to accomplish. Canelo Alvarez is not even up there. Canelo Alvarez is proving my point about Errol Spence. Canelo Alvarez is the biggest talk of boxing right now, right? But where's the numbers in association with a fighter that he stepped in there with early in his career? Now, he's able to receive some of that shine from the halo of stepping in there at such a younger age. But as far as him stepping in there with the Abney Yildirim, Rocky Fieldings, Billy Joe Sanders, Caleb Plant, Callum Smiths, you know what I'm saying? And even Gennady Golovkin twice. What fight is up there in the top 3 of PPV sales? When Canelo Alvarez was up here unifying the 168-pound division, was every fight about what numbers his opponents? Look, check this out. Was every fight focusing on the amount of butts they had in the seats? If he was trying to unify the 168-pound division, once again, when he was negotiating to decide yes or no on fighting the next opponent in the super middleweight division, was he skeptical about doing any of that when his determination was what? To unify the super middleweight division. That's what separates Canelo Alvarez from Errol Spence Jr. Canelo Alvarez is hell-bent on solidifying legacy. Canelo Alvarez is willing to go up here to cruiserweight and pick up another title. Do you think he's not going to make it satisfying enough to say, I want to come up there cruiserweight and make it about, well, I want to give you 90-10. The person that he's going up there to fight, Makabu, knows he haven't did numbers like Canelo. So that's not going to be a topic of discussion, bro. Canelo's entire intent is to go up here and pick up another division. Along with that division becomes a championship. That's what separates the buffoonery and foolishness on what's going on with this numbers talk from Errol Spence pundits. That's what separates it right there. Canelo Alvarez, he sat up there and he say, I have a mission. Boom. If he's the cash cow right now, so to speak, you actually believe the conversation is even how many butts his opponents put in the seats? Do you think Billy Joe Sanders was in that conversation? Caleb Plant was in that conversation on numbers? Caleb Plant got paid over $10 million? And he's held the IBF title, shawty? But Bud Crawford's had multiple divisions? And y'all not identifying how Canelo's moving and how Errol Spence is in park? Man, come on, bro. Man, damn. That's one. I don't try to goddamn be a conductor to the goddamn choir, bro. Like, how can Canelo go up here and everybody know who he is, and he gets the fight, and you don't hear no discussion? So and so him put no shit. These fighters ain't putting butts in the seats, man, like that. Not to be bragging on it. You can't say credentials don't matter only because the topic of conversation is a dark-skinned fighter named Terrence Crawford that you don't like for whatever reason. If it's all about him unifying, he has made the declaration, unify the welterweight, then guess what? He should have the same mentality Canelo. That is the fighter he's aspiring to grace the square with, right? Right? He was calling out Canelo name not too long ago. But yet, you want to fight another black fighter and make it difficult. Yeah, I said it. You want to make it difficult for another black fighter. But the reason why you're making it difficult outside of Sean Porter, because you felt Sean Porter was an easy route. You know Terrence Crawford ain't an easy route, so you're not going to damn just check the box and say, nah, you know what? Let's make it 50-50. I don't care. Make that shit 50-50. No, when people add money into it and when his fans add money into it, both of them are unsure. They're optimistic about the outcome. In order for you to make more money and solidify your legacy, you have to win. And they know that's a tough challenge when it comes to stepping in there with Crawford to say, yeah. Mikey name was mentioned. Yeah, Mikey name was mentioned. Sean Porter name was mentioned. And Keith Thurman name was mentioned. Yeah. So Crawford say, they didn't mention my name? No, they didn't mention your name. Well, guess what? Whenever he mentioned Crawford's name, he got some bullshit attached to it, dog. Let's be honest, bro. They're going to say rematch. Exactly, man. They're going to come up with some rematch bullshit, Sir Senior, man. Come on. Come on, Sir Senior. Don't come in here acting like you're a scholar in life. You see that. You see that, bro. They're going to talk about a rematch. Oh, let's see what the rematch is. No, we had the fight that you wanted. You got the fight that you wanted. Spence lost. Now what? Does it really deal with butts in the seats? When we just seen T.O. have butts in the seats? Really no special numbers. Well, I'll take that back because him and Vasily Lomachenko was on free TV and they did really good numbers. But when they was going into this fight, T.O. just wanted to get paid. They was going to make the fight. It was a big fight. So he went in there with no rematch clause. But moving forward, him defending his belts against a mandatory in his backyard, he had butts in the seats. And he got beat up. He lost his titles. But the fight was made. It allowed two champions. It allowed two fighters who are considered the top of their class in the division to fight one another for the belts. The challenger won and the champion was defeated. Now, in this particular case of welterweight, we have two champions. Point blank period, two champions. We really have grown-ass men up here saying that one resume supersedes and surpasses the other. When Kell Brook, look, back when he fought Kell Brook, what was Crawford doing back then? I mean, you act like he wasn't getting belts down at 35 and moving up to 40. You act like he wasn't getting straps. That was motherfucking strap season. What Errol Spence has been able to do is just try to just keep up. You know, he's what they call tiptoeing through boxing. Errol Spence is tiptoeing through boxing. He's tiptoeing through boxing, y'all. They're going to sit up here and treat Errol. They trying to treat Errol Spence just like Gennady Golovkin. Even though Gennady Golovkin has did way more, they want to now try to say, well, he's still going to make it to the Hall of Fame. Guess who's in the Hall of Fame? Rocky made it in the Hall of Fame, and he didn't even throw a punch in a professional fight. You know, so-and-so was in the Hall of Fame. I'm telling you, bro, that's going to be the narrative. It's going to be the freaking narrative, bro. After Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson. Carlos Ocampo, Mikey Garcia. Move those to the side. You get Shawn Porter. Split. Couldn't even finish him. You couldn't even finish him, but I can tell you who did. You couldn't even finish him, but I can tell you who influenced the stoppage. And then you go and say, I don't need no tune-up. And then you get Danny Garcia, who's a perfect opponent that's going to try to sit there and counter you. Man, come on, man. Y'all smart. Come on, man. At WCS, let me be honest. I don't want to see this fight of EJ versus Bud. He's going to get stopped. I don't want to see Bud do EJ like that. Man, see, you a caring person. That's Sir Singing. You a caring person, dog. See, that's what I'm talking about. The people who tune in to this live chat over here, man, they're caring individuals, bro. Yeah, just had Surf Senior say he really don't want to see it. The reason he don't want to see it because the detriment of the outcome will influence many. You're going to have people deactivating their accounts. You're going to have them goddamn going live out in the streets, in dark alleys, crying, weeping, genuflecting, just like goddamn, what's his name? Tim Tebow. They're going to be taking a knee, shaking their head. Tomorrow, damn. Why? I'm telling you, they should really just read the comment. We care. You know, Bud Crawford fans, we care, dog. We care about the outcome of what's going to happen when they step in there. But what I'm not hearing from Errol Spence is the same energy. You know, I want him to keep the same energy he kept about Mikey Garcia, Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman. Okay? Out of all those, that trio that he mentioned, he was able to step in there with Mikey Garcia and Shawn Porter. And we all know why he took the Shawn Porter fight, because it was easy. It was easy. But he ain't saying that shit about Bud. We know that. Mac of the South, salute, bro. What's good? EJ only got 2 belts his whole career. How is that Hall of Fame? This is and to their projection, they'll look at it like this, Sir Senior, that just because we're talking about EJ man down and all this other stuff, strap season, all these other hashtags he came up with that haven't lived up to, he just have a fan base that's basically living vicariously through him. That's all. They know he hasn't did anything special as far as in his career to add his credentials. He keep pussyfooting around, and he's at 47. Like 54 is going to be that much easier. But the only person I've even heard in the conversation that's moving up from 47 that currently has a belt is Terrence Crawford. I hear all these people that you stopping and sparring. I hear all these people that you beat in the AMs, but yet you come over here and you pretty much has been fighting in the same division, dog. I'm just saying, you've been fighting in the same division, man. These people are basically telling this. This is the truth on what I hear. He fought Kell Brook in his backyard. He fought Kell Brook in his backyard. He fought Kell Brook in his backyard like he was the only person to do it. But what they don't tell you about the Kell Brook that came down and dropped all that weight from Gennady, who's been fighting at 160, was the fact that he was damaged. So he took a damaged Kell Brook, beat him, right? His face was swelling up on both sides and all this shit. Still, you know, probably got damaged from the Gennady Golovkin fight, and then Errol went up there and damaged the left side of it. We all seen what happened. But then they want to boost up Shawn Porter for being this tenacious Tasmanian devil that's going to come in there and be in the chest of Bud Crawford and give all these damn high, intense moments of performance that's going to happen inside the ring. He didn't get it done, but yet they say, well, for real, Bud didn't look all that great. But isn't a win though? Like, he was never in trouble. Sean Porter was. Sean Porter resulted back in doing what the fuck he wanted to do. But if you're gonna say his dad stopped it, why did his dad stop it? When you see your son out there beating up the canvas, like when the referee gave opening fighter instructions before the first bell sounded, was the canvas a part of that? Was the canvas the person and the fourth person in there saying, okay, all right. Y'all know, I'm telling you, man. Y'all know I'm there. I'm gonna be here the whole fight. When Sean Porter was punching the canvas, you don't draw any concern from his pops to say, damn, my son's losing it. Fuck. He's getting his ass tore up in here, man. Let me stop this fight. And then, throw the man under the bus. You're actually gonna try to take away that shit. You can't, bro. The only thing you can do is give Bud Crawford what he earned and move on. Let me suggest this, and I'm gonna get up out of it. Let me suggest this to y'all. Spend less time talking about numbers in the seats like credentials don't matter. Just spend less time on that, because it's pointless at the end of the day, because y'all want to be unemployed chief financial officers and goddamn life coaches that don't have no clients. You're just up here in a room talking to yourself and counseling yourself in the mirror. Just leave that shit alone and focus on trying to make the fight happen. Making the fight happen is not going to be up here discussing the same shit that y'all have no contribution to. You absolutely have no contribution. Nothing. You don't know the books. You don't know the entirety of the straight up numbers. You don't have none of that information. You're not privy to that. I'm not privy to it either. So that's why I don't speak on it. I speak on stuff that's public record. Right? But let's not get it twisted. Just because they throw some numbers up there at public record, that's not what I'm talking about. I speak on most of the shit that's public record that I know that has merit behind it. I don't give a damn about the numbers, because why wasn't he talking about numbers when it came to Sean Porter, a person that he said that didn't sell tickets? But yet when he got the WBC belt, it didn't fucking matter. So all of a sudden with Bud Crawford, it matters. So you can't give him the same pass and waiver and therapeutic exemption that you gave Sean Porter for his championship fight? You scared, dog. Man, he's scared. I'm going to use Teofimo Sr. He's scared, y'all. He's scared. He's scared. He's scared. Most of his fans are unsure about that shit. He's scared, bro. He ain't talking that easy route shit with Crawford. It ain't got nothing to do with butts in the seats, man. It has something to do with that title arrangement. The title arrangement. If I was to hear Errol Spence, I want that WBO, I'll tell you that. That's my main focus right there, that WBO. Oh, don't worry about it. We're going to work something out. We're going to work something out. All we have to do is get to the title. We're going to work something out. We're going to work something out, period. I want that WBO title. Now, I will have more respect, way more respect for this situation. But right now, I have hardly, I would say it's probably 0.1. Because I've seen enough fights and respected enough to say, man, this fight can be made. You know what I'm saying? This fight can be made. But we have too many of Errol Spence fans that's uncertain about him actually defeating Bud Crawford, to the fact they want to bring numbers in here. Numbers that they know damn well at no point in time they're going to hold a pen and they're going to sign any type of proceeds they're receiving from this fight. So why are you so invested in butts in the seats when you're going to be the same person paying for a ticket to go see the fight? No one's going to know you there. You just purchased a ticket. You're not going to influence, oh, we're waiting. Do we need two? Do we need two? 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 and a half, 5, 5, 5, 5 and a half, 5, 5, 6 and 3/4, 7, 7, 7, 7, 8 fans in the deck. Okay, we have 10, 10, 10. It's not going to be like that, dog. You're not going to have influence on whether the fight happens or not. The fighter's not going to be sitting in the ring waiting on the last remaining seats to be filled. We have 60, 65, 65, 70, 70, 70, 75 seats remaining. We have, it's not going to be an auction up in that bitch. Go for the motherfucking title and the person that's holding. Go for the WBO title. Let's not get on here talking about butts in the seats. It matters for certain individuals. Just like Mr. Finesse said earlier, it's not equal across the board. I absolutely agree with him on that. This shit's not equal, dog. Bud fight was watched by all the Bud haters, but they stole the fight and then talked about PPV sales. God damn, you kicking some knowledge, dog. Them mugs crack stream the fight, dog, and up here talking about sales. You know what, Sir Singing? God damn, you absolutely hit that shit on the head. See, I don't really get into the little underhanded shit. I just talk about surface type shit. But that's just like the underworld, the underhanded shit that goes on. The Bud haters that sit up here and not even purchase straight up. They was the same ones that was celebrating Sean Porter heading into the fight as he was gonna do this and this and this to Bud. But then they didn't pay for the fight. They crack stream it. Hey, did you do it, dude? All right, cool. You? Good. Hey, text me when everybody else. How many we got right now? 30? Okay, cool. Everybody, y'all crack streaming. Y'all got it. Y'all up. Okay, cool. That's what's up, man. We're going to teach Bud a lesson. Shit, we're going to teach him a lesson. All right, fuck that. Shit, we ain't paying for this fight. That's going to really, 30 of us, it's going to affect his numbers big time, dog. It's going to affect his numbers big time, dog. I'm making a thumbnail right now. Bud only does 135K PPV sales. See, man, I like y'all, man. God damn, man, that was smooth. We taught him. God damn. I hope a little bit of what I said, touch some hearts. And I don't know why I always gotta have to put this disclosure out there. Because when you speak on a certain situation and you're not really mentioning names or anything like that, people still take it personal when you come around. Man, I don't look at it like that. I just look at it like having an opportunity to voice whatever I have to say. And if it deals with somebody that's not your family member or somebody that's a relative, or the comments that's coming out my mouth is not disrespectful in that nature where it gets immediate attention for something I'm talking about in your life, don't latch on to it like that. You got too many of y'all out here just latch on to shit that has nothing to do with you on a personal basis. You just get real angry off a dude you hear talking against your favorite fighter. You get real angry about that shit. Like I would say this, I would stop. I would just say, hey, okay, man, I'm not gonna really debate you because I seen a picture with you. You was in his home. Y'all was drinking wine, drinking Patron and shit, and y'all was breaking bread. You was sitting up there watching TV, chilling. I seen you on the road with him. Okay, you have a connection with him. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, you actually have a connection with him. But the other million plus, y'all don't have a connection. Y'all don't have any type of connection with the fighters that you're supporting. So if the debate, look, most of the time when the debate get or changes temperature with me is when people want to start cussing and screaming and yelling, dog. We all about peace over here, Team Crawford, we all about peace, promoting peace all the way from Omaha. We all about the peace, love, and happiness, baby. You know what I'm saying? Peace, love, and happiness. Shout out to Team Williams. We getting closer, dog, to this fight next week. Appreciate everyone who's supporting, been talking about the fight. Appreciate he's stepping there against John Bowser. Appreciate everyone who's been looking out for my man, Michael Williams Jr.'s pops, Roy Jones Jr., you know what I'm saying? NYC is on deck next week. You killed it, bro. When I start back doing lives, I want to interview you, bro. I'm going back to work. I appreciate you for pulling up there, Sir Singing. Appreciate you for pulling up, big dog. Shout out to the ones that's in the chat, man, that support the channel. Salute to you. This was just a simple live to speak about something that's they're trying to basically allow this cloud to just hover over, because look, they don't know. It's almost like one of those eclipses that's happening, and you're looking for the sunshine to come back, the full daylight, and it never appears because you have somehow, some way, the gravitational force keep on pushing it, and it gets dark and dark and dark. And that's what they're doing with this fight with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. They don't want no light to be shined on it, because the person that's shining right now is Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence was supposed to have whatever he was supposed to have. Hope he comes back. He didn't come into the arena with an eye patch on. Seems to be good. But I must say this, like I said before. The expression that he left post-fight was what it was. He felt some type of way about the outcome because he wasn't able to achieve it himself. Don't you dare try to put Derrick James into this nomenclature of authority as if he's always had that influence on Spence. He ain't never had no influence like that on Jermell Charlo or Spence. So if he told him not to stay there, you know what I'm saying, leave, just watch the fight until the 12th round and leave. So did you want him to do that like I asked before? Was he supposed to stay there at the 12th, or was he supposed to leave at the end of the 11th? Furthermore, when has Derrick James ever been on record as telling Spence not to put himself in a predicament that negatively affect who he is as a fighter? We ain't seen that shit. But all of a sudden, Derrick James is instructing a grown-ass man who has a family, right? He's instructing Errol Spence to not to be in the show. Please stop it. That dude is grown. He's grown enough to go here and win 2 world titles. And you're going to tell him, hey, whatever you do, don't stay there, dog. Don't stay there. And then all of a sudden, I hear people talking about, hey, man, they instruct him not to get in the ring, So where was Derrick James when he got in the ring with Sean Porter? Oh, they're going to say it's a PBC shit, right? Wasn't nobody stopping him from getting in the ring? Why wouldn't he get in the ring? It's to better promote the fight. It would have been awesome if we seen these two face to face. It would have been awesome, dog. It would have been awesome, just like that encounter that they had with Bob Arum and everybody else there. That shit has been played and chopped up and chopped and screwed and all that shit over and over again. This would have been the same way. People would have extracted the audio. They would have damn had sound bites. They would have been that. That's what we needed for this damn matchup right here. That's what we needed, people. We needed for Errol Spence to have cojones enough to split the ropes post-fight. But somebody said it best, though. I give credit where it's at, though. Somebody said it best. If Sean Porter would have won the fight, Errol Spence would have been there. Sean Porter, just like last time, you know who I am, and I want that belt, strap season. I took your last belt. Now you have a WBO belt. I've been trying to dang fight Crawford forever. Now you have the belt. Let's fight. Nobody would have been saying nothing. Oh, shit. He called out damn Sean Porter. Oh, shit. He found. Oh, it's going to happen. He going to get the 3rd belt. He going to get the shot. All along, I'll be on here saying, damn. Okay, he taking the easy route again. Now this time I can't really lay into Errol Spence because why? Because Sean Porter would have defeated Crawford. I'll speak it in hindsight, but I really don't prognosticate outcomes like that when I'm supporting my fighter. Like I say, okay, I expect this, and this. I support my fighter, but I can speak in hindsight because the shit don't matter. In hindsight, if Sean Porter would have won, then him jumping in the ring would have been a non-factor. Oh shit, we gonna get the fight. He already beat Sean Porter, so people would have been like, man, I just can't wait, dog. This is what we've been waiting for in Texas, dog. Dog, I can't wait, man. Errol Spence, Sean Porter 2. He's going to get that damn third belt, and then he's going to have one more. Oh, I'm so happy he beat Crawford. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't say it enough, man. Oh, my God. I was thinking about staying in tonight. I'm headed out. I'm going to the local pub. Fuck that. I got to drink to this, man. For real. I'm going to go goddamn order me some steak and lobster. You know what I'm saying? Have me about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drinks. I got to celebrate this shit. Because I know ain't nothing going to change from when they fought the first time. Spence just too strong. He know he has the matrix to beat Sean Porter. He's going to have that W. Man, they'd be coming up with the damn all the shit. If he would have defeated Crawford, they would have been so happy, dog. They would have been extremely happy, man. These guys would have been behind their logo, goddamn wiping their tears away, dog. Thank you, Father God. He didn't have to face Crawford. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus, in your holy name. Thank you, Father God, for him going in there and defeating Crawford. Thank you, Jesus, because I put so much hours into these thumbnails. It's been so tedious for me. And I finally reached the damn rooftop. Thank you for allowing me to stand on top of this motherfucker and rejoice, Father God. Because he was able to take the easy route to the dang undisputed. Damn, we was looking for somebody to defeat Crawford. And Sean Porter got it done. See, Sean Porter, I told y'all he was great. I'm telling you, that would have been their narrative, bro. These cats would have became full-blown alcoholics for 2 or 3 days straight, celebrating. If Sean Porter would have defeated Crawford, they would have goddamn became full-blown alcoholics, dog. You would have seen live videos coming. Hey, I told y'all, motherfucking man, damn. Shit, Crawford was overrated, dog. Now, hey, look, ain't nobody can beat Errol Spence now, man. Fuck that. Ain't nobody can beat Errol Spence now. He gonna fuck Sean Porter up. He'll probably stop him this time. He'll probably stop him, dog. And then we ain't worried about whatever happened with the WBA. We're gonna get that shot right there, man. Fuck all that. Man, I'm happy my boy Errol gonna be on this. Oh shit, dog. You don't know how happy we are down here, man. I'm about to go chill. Shit, man. Serious, man. Damn, I'm gonna go buy me a new outfit. I'm going out this weekend. Fuck it. Get my car washed, all that shit, man. This is something new in boxing. The only thing about that shit is just the ad lib, bro. All that shit I just said ain't gonna happen. I was just giving you a reflection on what it could have been, period. It's almost like breaking your heart. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to set the picture so you can think about this shit when you hit replay. So you can just lean back and shit wherever you at, or put your head in your hands and think about the shit. I just gave you just a little review or reflection on what it could have been. EJ and Porter should rematch. Well, I look at it like this, though. We know he ain't coming back fighting Terrence Crawford. So why not fight a common opponent in Terrence Crawford? You know what I'm saying? If you don't need, you don't want no tune-up and nothing like that, or they saying you do need a tune-up, fight Porter again, Porter ain't really retired. Porter be back for a fight, dog. Porter just be doing shit for attention. Porter ain't retired. I promise you that Porter isn't retired. I bet if Errol Spence wanted to come back and fight Porter, he'd be like, yeah, for sure. I'll fight Sean. We've been in the ring before anyway. But, I really wish it would have been for the title. I think his dad robbed Sean Porter for coming back in the 11th, 12th round. He robbed him. If it wasn't for him stopping the fight, I think Sean Porter would have came back. He would have did what he's... you know what I'm saying? Then it gets ugly. It's getting ugly already with people putting that jacket on Terrence Crawford's freaking win over Sean Porter. But I'm going to tell you like this. In order for his dad to stop the fight, he was influenced by the actions of Terrence Bud Crawford and what was being enforced upon his son. And when his son was knocked down the first time he got up, he didn't have the same confidence of humility when he got up in there with Errol Spence. When he got up with Errol Spence, he said, come on, dog, come on. When he got up from that Bud Crawford uppercut, he was like, shit, what? Okay, I'm good, man. All right, shit. Don't go nowhere, ref. Stay close, ref. Don't go nowhere. Pop. Man, what you talking about, WCS? He only hit in the neck. Yeah, because he was still fucked up from being knocked down before. And him being punched in the neck. That just complimented the earlier knockout and closed the show. But what influenced his pops to say, damn, my son's mentally losing it. I've never seen this from him. He's punching the canvas. I haven't seen him do that since he was 3 years old. I'm throwing in the towel. It's over. Throwing in the towel. Sean. No, it's over. It's over, Sean. It's over. It's over. Man, y'all hold it down. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports, man. I'm out.